Okay, so this is gonna be a fire key. I kind of played mediocrely, but I think that first of all, hold up, let's look at the talents. This is pretty standard. Normally, you actually play Intensifying Flame over Firestar, but since this is Galgorn's Fall, the last boss is like above 90% HP for a really, really long time. So we actually do play Firestar in this key, and you're gonna see that pay off really well on the last boss. Um, but yeah, hopefully, since I'm commentating this, I can just illustrate the parts that I thought were kind of the most egregious mistake-wise here. For instance, it's good for me to use some Firestar value while he's grouping the mobs, but I do it too much, right? So, like this, I should have combusted there. Instead, I do a kind of weird combust and have a Skeff Global. I do apologize that I don't have a details timeline on for the damage numbers, or not damage numbers, sorry, the casts, but that'll be changed for the future since I've killed Tindril now, so fortunately these stacking nameplates, you can see that kind of screwed me. I'm going to try to swap to this also high health target. Would have been good for me at Bellarellos, but I really don't want a Bellarellos in Combust. You do want a Bellarellos. So, okay. Bellarellos benefits from Fevered Incantation, I believe. That just works for everything. But in your tier set is only for fire spells, or for your mage spells, I believe. So it's good to Bellarellos like near the end or after your combustion, so you know still have the crit damage from Fevered. Here you can see, I just build up to SKP and then I go into combust. It's kind of standard. Nothing crazy here. What is going to happen is the DH and I are going to juke each other out, trying to soak this thing, and then we're going to wipe. Which is fine. We still, yeah, do the key, but and time it. So I probably should have shifting powered while you're waiting for this guy to spawn, but it's fine that I didn't. I did fix my Firestar weaker after this, by the way, if you're wondering. So I said just to kind of aggressively use Fire Blasts, since I can shifting power and then go into this. Okay, I actually did not go into my combust. That's alright. Kind of thought I would. It's okay. It's really unfortunate. One of the reasons Balefire is not as good for fire as the other specs is because the thing that you really would want to amp as fire is your SQB casts, but they are really freaking long, right? So you should lose a bunch of Balefire stacks. Pretty important, like during your filler, that you're using like a fireball to queuing your hot streak pyro afterwards, just because of our got a grace period on heating up generations. So it is kind of nice to have like a higher crit fire. The only downside is that it feels really bad to not have a guaranteed way to make your clear cast or your generate your heat ups. So I was thinking of waiting to alter before I blinked out, but it was getting kind of late in that cast, so I was kind of worried it was going to go off without me altering at all or blinking, and that would have been pretty ugly. That SQ is a little bad. I think I had like a munched global or something weird. So you can kind of see where the mediocrity is coming in. But I'm generally not that bad of a fire player. I'm pretty decent at fire. It's just I don't play it for like at all. Then you get a little rusty, I guess. It's a fun spec though. I think I'm gonna play a bit more this patch. I don't know if it'll be an M plus, especially this week when it's spiteful, because Spiteful is just a great week to play Frost. You know, everyone else in your key will love you for it. So, and you can really play any spec at the moment. It doesn't matter at all. Just nice to play fire for, you know, all the survivability and whatnot. We can try and skip ahead half second. Make this 30-minute video slightly shorter. You know. So here I'm gonna Firestar a little bit while he's grouping all the mobs up, so I can SKB, and then I go straight into the Combust, and now we are slamming. All these mobs are getting wrecked. I guess the DH maybe used stuff on the last boss or something. I don't know, but more for me. So I can end up Bellarellis into Spiteful here. People are all just killing them, so might as well. I'm not really a fan of running Bellarellis and Balefire as fire. I would probably rather just run an Augury, but when you have really high crit, Bellarellis is pretty good value. So I don't know. I don't have an Augury though. I also stone formed the Shifting Sands. You can't stone form that. You can only stone form the Bloom, so that was a dumb mistake. But and also, you see, I had Meteor up when I went into that combust. So ideally, I actually would have Meteored before the combust, and then done um, a Scorch into combust, because that's just what you do when you have Meteor up, unless you're in Lust. Meteor will always fall essentially at the same point, regardless of your haste, because it's fall speed scales with haste. So you can never really Meteor into Fireball. You'd have to combust really early into your Fireball. You do Meteor into Fireball during Lust, I believe, but that's pretty awkward. Not a fan of that. So So here I'm kind of deciding to build the SKB first before I combust, but yeah, combusting here is a bit bad, right? Because all the mobs are dead. So we're kind of hoping that he pulls fast, which he kind of did. Okay. This is a little tricky. Normally I like to just shimmer behind these things, but it's a bit weird. And it's also quite dangerous on a tyrannical week, even though this is only 25. which I'm just saying for relative reasons, because I have not time to key higher than this. I'm actually saving my lust here, but that's because I thought we might want to lust ourselves on this boss. However, I think since at 42, we actually end up just deciding to save it for the next pull. You can see I ice cold this in a manner that will hopefully let me get both. Yeah. So I really do want a Bellarellos here. So ideally I would actually, I think I'm going to do it after this Scorch Pyro, right? Yep. There we go. Maybe blink through onto like, this inner circle of the thing. It didn't alter, which was, or it didn't alter high enough, I guess. Even though the dark one has damage reduction, it also does like a lot more damage to you. So I think if you're looking to mainly reduce the damage you're taking, you actually want to stand in the light zone unless you um, are going to get hit by this faded thing. I shouldn't have used that Power Blast and tried to like save the SKB, but it would have been a long shot given the amount of RP we have here since we're skipping the dragon. So, and here I don't have Mirror Image up, which is a shame because I really like Mirror Imaging this. So, I do want to intercombust very soon. You can see I did that instantly. Combust, I have way more mastery. I spread ignite to 2 more targets, so it just can't really afford to sit outside combust here. Fire blasting on the guy I was cleaving on, so I can spread my ignite to this guy in full. I decided to just save my SKV. This guy's dying really fast, so. Definitely want to Bellarellos out of this for big damage. And here I do the, Scorch into Combust after Meteor. I might be under prioritizing Phoenix Flames at the start of my Combust. I'm not really sure. I mean, I got a lot of Fire Blast charges right now, even though I don't have any extra haste. Um, but yeah, if you're sitting on Phoenix Flame charges, you're from the Ashes is essentially doing nothing for you. If possible, yeah, I can try and have SQV for this thing, but I don't. However, I have Firestarter, which is what makes Firestarter freaking amazing. It's because you can actually just build a bunch of stacks. Fortunately, right, I don't have a guaranteed way except for Fire Blast to generate heat ups, so it's a little awkward, and I don't get into SQV until everything's dead. But and then yeah, this thing's dying fast, so there's no reason for me to SKB it. Never mind, I do it anyway, but there's no reason for me to combust it, which is already up, right? Since this is spiteful, it's probably fine to SKB, but if it wasn't spiteful, would have been better just to save it. However, I also have Firestarter, right? So I'm going to be able to quickly build to 8 on pull anyway, right? I'd rather keep my Fire Blast than maintain my 1 stack of Field of Burn there. So throw in some Scorches when I'm getting a bit low on generators. Your SKB can generally be scripted depending on your haste, but since we actually want to use PF inside it, I'm not entirely sure how you would want to do that. It's generally something I should learn from Forgy. I haven't talked to him about it at all this season, so that was really bad, right? I should have combusted on that previous Fire Blast Pyro, and I wouldn't have needed the extra Fire Blast. Sorry, Fireball Pyro, but you get the picture. So you can invis this corrosion if the cast is on you, which is one thing that Hunter is really good for in this dungeon. You also invis the Extinction Blast, which you might not see me do later. Maybe do, but we have Lust up for the third phase, which is pretty sick for Cleaven. He's about to phase. I do decide to SKB anyway because he's got 3%. We had a dead DPS, right? So holding this would have done me no good. I'm definitely a bit light on my defensive usage. Saving too many things, but that's okay. My combust was a little late there, so my fireball actually did not crit. Because fireball is calculated on cast. So if you don't combust before the cast finishes, it will not crit. Or it won't be a guaranteed crit, at least. This is really good if they're baited close to each other so that you can like maintain your 2 target uptime. They weren't really here. But inside the corrosion, it made it a bit weirder for me trying to LRLS. Um, so see, I'm kind of freaking out a little bit because I had like corrosion twice. So that really should have been a shifting power, and I could have, you know, just gone ahead and combusted. Instead, I'm not shifting powering, and I am just flat out of all my charges. So this is what can happen when you just delay your shifting power. So, you know, be better at shifting powering when it's up and you're fulfilling the requirements, which is mainly try not to be in combust. Because that shifting power was essentially delayed like 30 seconds or something. Yeah, so here I'm just gonna hit the Ripper. This guy's gonna stay above 90 for a bit, and it's also just the person I should cleave off of, right? Fortunately, he kind of went below 90 actually pretty fast. I don't have Ignite on literally anyone in this pool until just then, so my damage is not looking good. It probably would have been good for me to Balefire there, by the way, since I had 2 meteors hitting instead of just waiting for my combust. That's like a bit of, adjustment that I should have made, but I didn't. I think here at Belorellis, and like half these things are spitefulls. So what can you do? Yeah. Honestly, this part isn't even spiteful pad because it just decreased my damage. But yeah, we're gonna invis skip and the healer's gonna die. So we'll just yeah. Here, I should just build a SKB. This guy is annoyingly far away from you. So you can do like the double um, UCIG invis that extinction blast so I don't take the dot damage from it. Yeah, so you can do like the PF into fire blast and the double pyro, which is what I just did there. Which personally I find annoying, but it's better than holding your GCD. So Yeah, Scorch, which was not good. But I think I was not actually over 100% haste at that point. I have my weak word tell me that when I have like over, I don't know, 95% haste. Not because of, um, like, it doesn't matter. It's just that's the point where it's acceptable to fireball in combust instead of scorching. So I feel the burn fell there, and it probably shouldn't have. That's not that big of a deal because I have it fully stacked by the time I'm SQBing anyway. I mean, definitely something to work on. Here I'm gonna pyro and then yeah. I didn't want my field of burn to drop, so if I did a fireball pyro, which would have saved me a fire blast charge, my field of burn would have dropped. So since I have guaranteed crits from Firestarter, it makes sense to pyro into fire blast pyro. Here I didn't do that, however, because I was too far away from my SQB. So at like 5 stacks, I would, do my fireball thing. But a little unfortunate, but I only overcap 1 stack. So yeah, decided to cancel my SQB. I do have Shimmer up, but shimmering during this part is a little freaky. So what you really want is better positioning. But yeah, I mean he's just over 90% this entire time, which is quite nice as far. But it does mean that all my crit is wasted, right? And that extra Fire Blast I did really leaves me dry on Fire Blast during this point. So it's kind of why you don't want to force SKBs, especially when you have guaranteed crit here. Because I didn't even really, wasn't even really able to cleave Ignite to the mobs much. It's not really a reason for me to delay my Meteor here either. That's not that big of a deal. Did some extra fireballs to preserve my Fire Blast amount. I should probably just have Balefired like as soon as it came up, since yeah, like I was so close to dying. But yeah, there you have it. It's not horrible. I mean, I had no AUG, no PI, right? So this is, I know, a lot of damage for no AUG, no PI, because the BM hunter was getting PI'd. And here's my overall. I think I could have used my Eardoll a little bit more. It's a little low here compared to where it normally is for me as Frost. Um, and using my Bellarellos actually crit 36% of the time. I have 41% crit, so we were a little unlucky there, but it was still slamming, right? When it does crits and for millions. Um, so yeah, I think this is pretty standard. When you are playing Intensifying Flame, normally I'm seeing it like at 3% of my damage or maybe a bit less. So Intensifying Flame is very, very strong. It's just, as you saw in the last boss, Firestarter is pretty disgusting on this fight itself. So, all right, hopefully that was helpful. Comments, questions down below. In terms of what I'm probably gonna make next, I'm gonna make a Frostmage Tendril guide because I got rank 1 on that. That'll be tomorrow or the next day. And then I'm gonna make some videos on the hero talents as well, which will be, I guess, in the next week or so. And then maybe more keys, because I am trying to start actually doing keys this season instead of ignoring them like I have been for the past long time. So have a good day.